Ooh, is that a blood blister?
Yep.
It was worth it though. My floors look really good.
Worth it.
They do look good.
They look amazing. So happy.
Oh yeah, Marley and
Oh,
Merc, welcome. Yeah, that was my bad.
Howdy.
That was my bad. I had the wrong profile in OBS loaded, and I pushed start streaming, and I sat there and go, "Why aren't we live?" And then, yeah,
Skip's notification pops up.
I'm a dummy. So anyway, we got JaysKnottyWood here, you guys. You guys see in there?
Hello.
Coming through on the stream today, so we'll try not to ask the super hard questions for you.
Ask away.
But,
I'll answer what I can
Yeah.
as best as I can.
Hey, G, I think Merc is talking to you.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. Yeah, just like I said, Jay, when we spoke, if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. We'll move on. We all understand the whole thing of there are certain things that cannot be discussed. So
Yeah, you guys better than most.
I think it's important. We've kind of mentioned it like every stream. These are all personal views to everybody. They don't represent anything else other than our own personal views. So they don't represent any education system or the government or anything like that. So it's all personal.
Yeah, because we know the government wouldn't agree with any of our opinions anyway. So
Absolutely.
facts.
Yeah, for sure.
There's things we just tolerate, you know? Like, okay.
And this is our view right now. It may not be our view in 2 months either.
Or even at the end of this.
Exactly.
It'll probably be my view forever.
I think it's important, you know, if people sit down and just talk, and they don't necessarily have to agree on everything. If they just talk about things and see the point of view from somebody else, you know, they understand them a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You know?
the whole Nick Merckx thing.
Oh yeah, that's been a hot week, man.
Yeah, this
Hot
week
week.
has been insane. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't really been on Twitter much this week, but it's just
You're
full.
welcome.
Like, thank you. But like every time I open it up, I'm like, I want to close this shit down. I'm done. Like, I don't even want to see it. Cancel culture at its finest.
Yeah. You know, it's funny to me that people they just sling all these words and labels around to everyone. And that's the thing that's like difficult for me, because, you know, I always talk to people and I don't put anyone in a box. I don't put a label on anybody. I'm just going to hear them as a person, right? Whatever point of view they may have, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, well, you don't like this group or this group, so therefore you're a bigot." Well, by calling somebody a bigot, that means I have disdain and hate for them too, which is essentially the definition of a bigot.
Yep.
So you can't like call somebody a bigot without being one yourself.
Yep.
That's my opinion on it. Anyways, if you think about it, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Totally fine. I still love y'all.
Before we get into this crazy shenanigans, because what's great about this week, y'all, is all this stuff was over at school. Well, not only does Jay like to play with wood, he is also a school teacher.
Yeah.
All right, but we're gonna let him tell about his wood playing. All right, and
Yeah, absolutely.
Jay, tell us exactly who you are, what you do.
Did we hit the button, Skip?
Yes,
We're live, baby. Let's go.
No, not that button. The record button.
Oh, let me try it. Yeah, hold on.
I always forget that button.
Too many
It's not
errors. Too many concurrent sessions. Nope, don't work. All right, I'm just gonna download the VOD.
Okay.
Once it's done, it'll be fine.
All right.
It
So
works.
I am JaysKnottyWood. It is definitely a play on words, on purpose, of course. I mean, I do this, the woodworking, as a side gig. It is my hobby. I'm looking to make it more. But it is also where I'm able to problem solve in ways I can't at work. And at work, I am currently a 4th grade teacher. That could change up to any point from now into 10 days after the school year starts. And it's happened to me before. Maybe we'll get into that at some point. But patience is needed out here. It's helping me with the job, helping me be more patient and see things in different ways. And if there's a problem that comes up, try to attack it out here differently and in my job differently. So I am losing patience the older I get. I've found that. So it's going to be an interesting journey the way things go here on out. I don't know what else you guys want me to say about me. I'm a lovely 37, about to be 38. Age-wise, I don't know if that helps put perspective on my years of whatever I've gone through, been through. There's a whole lot of baggage we all carry, but
You're like right in the group. Like, I think we're all in, right? You basically have watched every podcast that we've done so far. So I think you've probably heard like our age range, you know, so you're like right in there with us. So I think, that lack of patience or losing patience on a lot of things is at least it's shared by me anyways. I can't speak for anybody else.
I literally wanted to say something as soon as he said that. I was like, I feel like in my early to mid 30s, I was like, fuck this shit.
I'm out.
I'm in patience debt.
Yeah.
Like I owe patience back.
I'm so glad I had kids at a young age because now my kids are older. Like I don't think I could do the young kid thing right now. Like
Oh man.
I don't. Like I have to feed you.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
What?
Those are the best years, though.
I think
So-
like after your 50s,
The
Mark,
little
you
ones.
start gaining patience back again.
Yeah.
After your 50s.
It's
Oh no, Skip's
I don't
almost
know.
there.
yeah,
I think
I'm
it
pushing it,
wavers,
right? it depends on what it is. You know what I mean? Like
I think
the older I get, the more patient I am with kids, my own kids, children, teenagers. I'm far more patient.
I feel like older, yeah. I feel like as my kids are older, I have more patience. I think it's the younger age. I don't know that I would so much have the patience for. I think not just with kids though, but in general, I think at this age in my 30s, I got to a point where I was more cognizant of what I wanted to allow in my life and for me. And so I think that just allowed me to put up harder boundaries that I was more aware of. So I think that translates a little bit into patience because it's just like what I was willing to tolerate before. I'm like, I'm too old for that now. Like I'm not letting anything in that I don't want in at this point.
The older you get, your fuck level goes down.
This is true.
Yeah. You have to start prioritizing yourself. Like that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, you prioritize yourself, your family, and yourself over
yeah.
a lot of things, and I think that's where people start really getting to that point. They start getting to the older you get, like the priority starts. I think as it goes on, it's just like more family, more close friends, yourself, and I agree with you 100% on that.
I could add a little bit onto myself there. I am a father of three girls.
Nice.
My oldest drives me insane.
How old
I
is
have
you? How old is
How
you?
old?
Zero patient. She's 11. My middle is turning 10. They're about 16 months apart. And then my youngest is 6.
Okay.
Oh yeah. You're in
I
I
that.
hope I got their ages
ages.
right.
Yeah.
Our ages were like ours were great at those ages. I don't know. We have one that's almost 11. So
Yeah, well, they're all going to be teenagers at the same time. I just continue to remind them that Daddy knows how to shoot. So
I brought you
Keep
in.
the
I can
boys
take
out.
you out.
yep.
It's
Well,
different.
it was for the boys, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, based on this week over in this last week that both my girls were in Kentucky, I have no issues with anybody that tries to mess with them. They're a pretty good fucking shot.
Yeah, see, it's different for someone. Merc says I feel that's different for you all compared to me because I'm single and don't have kids or a family of my own. I think it definitely changes your perspective on a lot of things, especially when you become responsible for another human life. Like your whole world is flipped upside down. At least I know mine was.
Yeah, I also can't deny not dreaming about those days.
Yeah, man, it was fun.
Every couple of days, I look at the wife and go, "Why? Why did we have kids? Why?"
Well, but you look at it sometimes though, and you're just kind of like, I just want to do this, and you're like, and then you look over and you're like, shit, I got the kids, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But see, we
Calvin
had
had
ours
a
so young that we didn't have that issue really.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Well,
It's been a long time since we've had that issue.
Y'all got an independent driver, I'm in the same boat right now. Independent driver, a boyfriend,
Yeah.
It's
They're
it's
like little
interesting.
humans.
Yeah, they got their own life, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, Piper's the boy I never had. That's our little inside joke that we have.
AG, or you got AG and Rebel both have teenagers, don't you? You guys
Yeah,
have
I got an
teenagers,
18-year-old.
yeah.
Well, yeah, mine are 16 and 14.
Yeah.
Oh.
AG's right in the middle of it.
About to be 7. But my son's older, so.
Yeah. How is he? My son was a complete holy terror growing up.
Lives in his room.
Yeah. That's my daughter.
Typical teenage thing anymore. They don't go anywhere, live in their room.
Yeah.
That sounds about like Piper, although she goes to work.
Their social life, if they had whatever social life is like the most important thing in the world.
He don't give two shits about a social life.
He just kind of does his own thing.
Does his own thing. He could care less about anybody.
Yeah.
That's Piper.
It's kind of like me.
Yeah.
You just don't care. He's like, whatever.
Just do your thing. I'm over here doing my thing.
No, my daughter's a different story. She's 14 now. She's about to be a freshman, and she's like, I want to be everything.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Oh, yeah.
Thought you were big and bad freshman year.
I'm a high
And you got put in your place real quick. Then you got put in your place real quick.
Does that kind of stuff exist still today, Jay? In like school, like the grades all think they're like just better than the grade before. Is that still a thing? It was growing up for me. It was.
Yeah, I remember that growing up. I mean, somewhat, but it's hard to know where I'm at necessarily because high school will think that down to elementary because we're K-8 where I'm at. So we don't have middle school. We used to. I went to a middle school. Middle school, when you went to the middle school, was like, oh, okay. But I came in middle school at the last grade. I was moving on. I was 8th grade. It was 6th, 7th, 8th when I went into the middle school myself. But I was also the new guy, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
But not so much. Junior high will kind of give that feel, but we try to build a culture to where it's like, hey, we're all here together. Try to. That is.
Yeah.
I feel like middle school is the worst time for any kid. Like they're ruthless in middle school.
Well,
and you're so awkward at that age. I mean, most of us anyway. There's a few that didn't go through that. I feel like, but
I look at them and hope. Sorry, I look at them and I hope that I was never that awkward or. I don't know. Some of the things they do, I'm like, okay. I guess.
I look back at pictures and know I was that awkward.
I have pictures to show how awkward I was.
I definitely was kind of an outlier a little bit, for sure. I didn't like to go with the flow.
Did y'all have the voting things in middle school? Did y'all do like this person was most attractive and most
We're doing that
did
now.
y'all do that?
We did in high school.
I didn't when I was in school. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't do that in school. We have it now. Our junior high 7th and 8th vote, whatever,
Yeah.
or just cutest couple, all kinds. I'm like, okay.
So it was
weird.
I was literally I was voted most likely to succeed in middle school. That's how boring I was.
Nerd alert.
I was
Facts.
the nerd.
I was voted best hair.
Who said that?
You had best hair.
It's
Yeah, I was
not.
best hair in high school.
Yeah.
That's
Well, were
funny.
you were best hair? You were most likely to succeed, Ash. I
Mhm.
can see that. Yeah. What about
But
you,
that's
Tina?
like every
What'd you get?
middle school girl's dream to be most likely
Nothing.
to succeed in middle school, right? You
Most likely to catch an STD. I don't remember.
didn't get anything.
Yeah, I
have
wasn't
no idea.
voted on, so
Oh.
Most
yeah.
likely to catch
Yeah.
a felony charge.
Most likely. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, most likely to go to jail probably, but here you go. Now I'm a cop.
Most
Your
likely
shit,
to
you know.
not marry the most likely to succeed person.
Facts.
It was
Yeah.
well planned.
We were like a complete surprise to everybody, I think.
Yeah, even the teachers were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Merc, I think a lot of high schools are cliquey. Schools are cliquey. They're friend groups. They all kind
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
stay in, and honestly, that's
Staff too.
yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
That kind of thing
I think
happens everywhere. Really,
I think that's just society. You just
High
find
school.
those like-minded people, no matter
Yeah.
where. And but the difference is, I think, is at an older age, yes, you have the ones that you surround yourself with, but then there's the professional relationship that goes around it that you
Yeah.
have to have.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to be
So
able to let people in and out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, we have all that at work. Like you can literally see the people that
Yep.
you can see the groups.
Yep.
But I mean, when you have 150 people somewhere at any one time, it's very easy to spot the different groups.
I think in the military, it's a little more diversive in the groups, though. Like all
Oh, yeah.
people from all walks of life, all in one area. So when
Yeah.
the groups form up, it's just more people who get along together or have the same
Mhm.
interests more than anything else.
And
Yeah.
people who can tolerate each other the best.
Yeah. Hey, I like that. I have that hobby too. Oh, I have the hobby too. Cool. Let's go do our hobby together. That's kind of
Yeah,
what I see.
You got COD? I got COD. Let's go.
Yeah. For sure, man.
dude. When I started getting it like posting really big on TikTok, I'd be walking around at work and they'd be like, "Hey, I saw your video," and I'm like, "Oh shit." And they're like, "You're good at COD," and I'm like, "I mean, I'm not. I'm all right, or whatever." And then the next day or whatever, like 3, 4, 5, 6 other people would say the same thing. Like, I didn't know you played Call of Duty. I'm like, what do you think I do? Am I a robot when I go home?
You
I
phase
have
out
hobbies.
existence.
Yeah.
But I started, but we would actually start playing together with some of those guys.
Yeah.
So, that diverse, like you were saying, you find mutual likeness.
I gotta ask, man, how many what's it like in a room full of fourth graders, man? Jay,
Yes.
my sister runs a daycare, and when I go in
Well,
there,
my wife
it
had
is
a daycare, so
she owns like a daycare and she runs that thing, and like when I go in there, it sounds like a rock concert all the time, like it's just loud.
oh, it can be, yeah.
So I don't know, like, what is it
So-
like in a school classroom like that?
Well, ours, I don't know necessarily if it's fully out here in California, but I have a maximum cap of 34 students in my classroom
That's a
For
lot for
7
one person.
and a half hour days. Oh yeah, they don't care. And 34, and you're obviously supposed to classroom manage every one of these little guys. Handle business during certain requirements every day, certain time slots. For instance, we have 30 minutes of mandated ELD. we talked about it earlier a little beforehand about putting people in a box and segregating people, and it's like we don't want to do that, but we're gonna make you sit these people that need to learn English for 30 minutes a day, separate from everybody else, and teach them directly. Okay, what do I do with the rest of the group? Well, you need
As
to,
one person.
get them going on something. Yeah, but now we have at least 5, 6, 7, 8 kids per 34 that literally can't just sit down. So it's magic.
Like herding bees.
Yeah. It sounds like PFM to me. Pure fucking
It's
magic.
tough. It's very tough, and it's getting more difficult along the way. Classroom management specifically is getting more difficult, especially when our governor put in a law that says that we are not allowed to suspend K-8 for defiance, because it directly correlates with them. Suspension rates correlate with jail time or rates and stuff, because that automatically means the other thing, and there's no middle ground. We can't find a different solution, whatever. We can't just suspend for defiance anymore. So a kid sits there and refuses to work. It's okay.
They just sit there then.
Yeah.
Okay, sit there. Don't learn.
Wow.
You can contact parents. Make sure you know the whole CYA with that. You got to contact parents. Make sure you're doing it.
Damn.
90% of the time, nothing happens.
So you tell the parent, like, so a student, let's say, is being defiant, and I don't know, there's probably different levels of defiance, right? Like, there's probably like kids that act like complete animals, or kids that are just like refusing to do what they're supposed to do. And the only thing you can do is just call their parents and tell them, and then if they do nothing about it, then that's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, then you can hold meetings, have other teachers, we come together and, what about this, and strategies. There's all kinds of little things you can do to it, get them immediate responses or immediate feedback of, right now, everybody, where our district is huge on PBIS, positive behavior intervention. So Johnny turns in homework, you give him a sticker. I'm like, I already give him a grade. He doesn't get a 0 for it. That's his reward, is getting his grade. But at the same time, now you get a sticker, you get this, and then you earn something along the way. And you could probably tell where I'm standing on some of this is like, there has to be a balance. There really has to be a balance. It's not one way or the other. There's got to be middle ground in something, because positive influence and reinforcement works for some kids. Other kids, it doesn't. Other kids need that, hey, no, this isn't working. This is what you need to do. This here, here, and here, and that works. So I was, if I'm good, if I'm doing it and I'm right, okay, I don't need to worry about learning anymore. I got it. It's already in my head. I'm good. But if I'm wrong, I'm like, oh, okay, when bad grade comes, okay, what's going on? I need to figure it out. So I lean more towards that, and I'm working on it.
So what happens if like a kid just gets poor enough grades that they, like, do they fail? Do they get held back, or do they just keep going? I don't know how they do it in California, but I know that a lot of states have this thing called No Child Left Behind.
Yep.
Which basically means it doesn't matter how poorly they did, they just keep going.
That's gone. That was a Clinton thing.
Oh, okay.
I'd say I've heard of kids getting held back in even as early as elementary school.
It is very rare for kids to get held back anymore, especially past 4th grade is really, really tough, because they deem it socially unacceptable. It'll affect them socially more harmful in the long run than sitting back and relearning. K1-2 is the prime spot to hold back, because everything really, math, everything ties to the basics. If you can't do your letter sounds and all that with reading, you're going to have a hard time, period. So K1-2, that's where foundation, fundamental stuff is taught, but it's so hard to do it. Because one, parents have input and they can deny or they can refuse the holding back. Okay, I get that. I get parents should have a say in it, but at the same time, got to figure it out.
You would think it'd be like where the schools would have a heavier influence and say, and like refuse, like, nope, they're not ready for this level.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to waste our resources for something that they're not ready for. Maybe that's too logical, but it's just
it probably, yeah. But the thing is also, we're not wasting our resources, so move them along. There's got to be a money aspect to it. To me, honestly, I don't see another reason, because logically, if they don't get it, hold them back early.
Yeah.
Because later on, that's where the social aspect comes. If you get held back K1, 2, nobody's really going to remember by the time you're in 5th, 6th grade, you're just in their group.
That's, yeah.
I mean, unless you're bragging about it.
Merck said she got held back in 1st grade. I also got held back in 1st grade, but I also started kindergarten when I was 4. So I think part of that was, part of the reason was because like everyone was older than me. And like I was, 4 years old. I started 1st grade. I was 5 years old. Like, and everyone around me is like 2 years older than me almost. So getting held back was, at least that's what my parents told me. They may be lying to me. I don't know, but I might have been a dummy when I was in 1st grade. I don't know, but
I mean, I can see somewhat of a social aspect about it or whatever, but I also look at it like if you have a legitimate kid that is having trouble just getting down what they need to do, then so we're just going to socially unacceptable push them through, and now they're going to be put further and further behind, and it's going to be further and further for them to get caught up if they ever can, and then to me that sounds like it's going to correlate into somebody dropping out of school because they're just going to give up because they don't get it.
I mean,
that's what it sounds like to me.
This is a relatively new practice within the last 5 years. COVID didn't help. It was already going that way. COVID pushed it completely into that, at least for those years. But this is, I like to say it's probably a social experiment, and I hope it's going to end soon, because there's no accountability for it. There's really no accountability. We're not teaching them anything towards real life, outside of school. Because if you don't succeed at your job, you're going to get fired. That's it. Yeah. And you're gonna have to figure it out. It's a safe place to put these habits in and stuff. And 4th grade social aspect, there's a huge difference between 3rd and 4th. 4th, about Christmas break, they start realizing, hey, I want to be me, and I don't like being a part of this group anymore. So there's drama is big. So a lot of that social aspect I get, but there's so many factors.
There were like 10, 11.
9,
what are
10.
they there for,
9, 10.
though? Are they there for socialization, or are they there for education? I mean,
anymore?
Well, I mean, realistically, what are they supposed to be there for?
Well, everything, all of it, honestly, because you learn how to socialize. You learn how to do. So it's how to act around other people, how to work with people. There's all kinds of different aspects and factors that go into it besides just, hey, learn how to do the math. But anymore, teachers are supposed to be the counselor, the parent, the teacher, all of these guides, the therapist, all of it, all the way through. And for 34 kids at a time, it's hard to do. And I hate to say it, and I tell my coworkers all the time, I don't see every student every day, and it bothers me. I see them, they're in my room, but I don't get to do this
one-on-one.
I don't get to see them. Hey, how are you doing today? I don't get that because there's not enough time to, and it's sad.
You know what's crazy, man, is that you say that, and like I think Tuna could probably attest to the same thing. When you have people that, like, for us in the military, like I have 175 or 150 probably right now people that I'm responsible for. I don't get to see them all day, every day. I don't get to talk to every single one every day. And it's like the same thing, like from what you're dealing with in school, because we have to teach those people, we have to counsel them, sometimes we have to parent them, and you don't get to talk to all of them every day, and it's kind of a scary thing,
And to be held responsible for all of them.
Yeah.
And these are
That's
adults.
trippy, man. Yeah, they're adults, but
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
It's just, it's
some
just
of
one
them are.
some of them never learn how to be one.
Yeah, this is. I mean, legitimately, I had a dude. I think he was in maybe 7 months, and he grew up 30 miles down the road from here. You know, and so we'd get off of work and we'd be on our 2-day break, and this dude goes back home and his mom does his laundry and shit still. I mean, like he was still attached to her tet. It was that bad. So when it came time, a deployment popped up. And we're like, this motherfucker's going with us. And they're like, why? We're like, because we are detaching him permanently. And we detached him a little bit too early, too much, I think, because we actually corrupted the kid and he got kicked out less than 2 years after that. But that's besides the point. But he is now, a productive member of society.
I have seen kids holding grandma's hands, 5th grade, 6th grade, as they're leaving campus. I'm like, how does nobody say anything? How do you go through none of your classmates? Because if that was the thing when I was a kid, done. You would not hear the end of it. But I'm like, whatever. But it just goes to show often that, especially really COVID helped, that being attached so much more, because what we were being taught and leaning towards as teachers is don't do the teacher safe. Okay, don't do the teacher safe. Don't just give them the answer. Let them work on it, struggle with it a little bit, because then they learn how to problem solve. They learn how to think instead of you just always answering for them. Well, COVID, for a year and a half, 2 years, they had somebody there constantly with them. If they were even at school or online, because we were distance learning, we were teaching like this, literally.
Yeah.
So they had somebody there to give them the answers 24/7, and it's still biting and showing up in class 3 years later. These kids are not independent.
Well, yeah. I mean, COVID taught, either dependency or independency. There really was no in between, honestly. And, like we were talking about earlier, you were talking about there's no accountability. I mean, there's no accountability anywhere hardly anymore. Because, I mean, you go out to these places.
That's not even at school.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. At these, all these places are like, oh, well, we're understaffed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're using that as an excuse, which, okay, cool. Use that as an excuse. I'll wait a couple of minutes longer, right? But all of us in the military know that if one person falls, ain't running at 100%, guess who's got to pick up the slack?
Everybody else.
Everybody else, but that's just not the societal mindset nowadays.
So does that cause a delay? Like if you have students that are falling behind on things, does that cause a strain on the rest of the class? Like, does it slow it down? I guess you mean, does it slow down the speed or the progress that you make in the curriculum if a student if you have to take more time out to like focus on somebody, and then does it slow down the rest of the class? I guess the question.
It can, if it's, well, typically it's about an 80-20. Some say it's 75-25, 85. Some are pushing 90. But if you look at any stat, anything in the history of how people learn and succeed at any given thing, the bell curve stands no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's not something I've made up. It's just there. So I like to go 75-25. So if I have 75% of my class getting it, which is rough to do, especially with certain concepts. We introduce fractions, and it's not just, hey, this is what a fraction looks like. It's, hey, add this fraction to this fraction. They don't look the same, so it's a brand new concept for them. And that's tough in 4th grade, which is fine. I get it. Some get it, some don't. When we have that 75-25 or that percentage based on judgment of where we're moving and how kids are going to get it, oftentimes it's, all right, so you guys are moving on, you're working on this. Hey, this set of people, come see me, we're going to rehash. So let's try to pull them off to the side, pull them back, and at least have a small group with them and where it's possible. The hard part with the small group, again, is you have maybe 5, and then there's 29 other hooligans, knowing your attention is right here on these 5, so they're going to do anything and everything, and then, that's rough.
I think that kind of ties into one of the questions Lady Merck was asking about if they still offer consultant teachers. Like, I know when we went to school, I remember, so maybe they don't. I know when we went to school, they had this option, though, where it was like kids who they didn't necessarily have such a disability that they had to be in like the special classes full time, not special ed. Yeah, like a specialty where they can break off together to where you're not having to do it.
So there's different programs. We have SDC, RSP, SCC, special day class. So that's a whole separate situation. The curriculum runs for how fast they can go. There's a specific learning disability. RSP also has a specific learning disability, but maybe not as severe, or maybe just one versus more. RSP, they get, pulled to another group, and they have an RSP teacher that works with them on that subject or whatever they're doing.
Do you find that to be more helpful?
Yes and no. The way the trend is going, I gotta be careful here. I think they're trying to do away with said programs. Couple reasons why I say that. One, I went to trainings over summer 3, 4, 5 years back, and we sat and trained on UDL, Universally Designed Lessons. And essentially, you have a lesson designed for your high kids, middle kids, low kids, other. But all the same lesson, they have access to it all different ways. The Universally Designed Lesson is meant for autistic kids, SDC kids, anything spectrum-wise, everybody to be in one room and accessing the same lesson. Now, there was also talk of my teaching credential becoming a blended SDC and mainstream teaching credential. So we don't have SDC anymore. Everybody's in one room. Whole different ballgame, whole different story with that, because there are certain students that can't take input, like the lights, all the videos up here, even the noise of a regular classroom, and they flip out. No other way to put it. We have a lot of desk throwers now. A lot of violent, just when they lose their shit, they lose their shit. And they're in mainstream classes, and we're having a hard time going. They're not. This is where, Skep, you talked about the constitutionalists and stuff and being to that. The idea of teaching in school, every student has the right to an education. Every student has the right to the knowledge. But this is also according to the suspension process why they say they have to keep them in. If they're not there, they're not learning. But at the same time, if that one student is being so disruptive that the 34, 33 other students can't learn, which is the bigger evil?
That student needs to be removed from the class.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it, because it's infringing on the other kids.
Yeah. I had a parent come up to me and said, okay, why? She literally asked me that. She goes, so suspension, why are we suspending? She was like, why do you think we should suspend so much? Because they don't get that education. I said, it's not about that kid anymore. When they're suspended, it's about everybody else. You remove that student, and maybe for that day or however long that kid's suspended, we can teach and learn and have an environment where we can kind of like take a breath and just do things. Because there are kids that will constantly just, especially now with the lack of defiance, just can be there to disrupt everything. Now, there's factors and affect filters. There's so much going on outside of work and life for them and school. I get that. But time and a place.
We're also teaching them like there's no consequences to your actions. If you do bad, you can't. You're not going to be held back anymore. Like
you do bad all week, but you turn in one assignment at the end of the week, and you still get your sticker because you turned that one in. So you gotta.
That's what's fucking with society today.
It's tough, man. That's tough for me to swallow that. Like,
Which is why I'm. Please blow it up. Let's go.
Yeah, that was like Piper out. Yeah, that was like Piper in sports or whatever. She was like, I didn't make the team, and I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do to do it now?
No,
She goes,
I was her coach. Like I coached her
Yeah.
volleyball team, and if she was not on, she sat the bench. I mean, I don't care if she's my kid. If she was not the right person for the job at the right time, she sat the bench just like anybody else. I mean, the whole everybody gets a trophy society is just mind-boggling.
That's unfair, and I think what you did is fair. You know what I mean? It's fair, and it teaches people that lesson that when you get out in the real world and you're an adult, like nothing's gonna be handed to you on a silver platter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We
10 years down the road, might be.
Yeah, parents. We haven't got to the parents
worst.
Well,
10 years down the road, it might be good.
They have to learn, that lesson for Piper is if you want something bad enough, you need to figure out what you have to do to get it, right?
Yeah.
It's not just going to be given to you. So that brings up a question, and I hadn't really thought about it until now, but should we consider like the possibility that maybe free education shouldn't be so readily accessible? Do you know what I'm saying? Like
No.
So like they're entitled to a free education to the extent that, right?
Yeah.
To the extent that the teachers are able to provide it to them, or that they're able to sustain that environment themselves, or you know what I'm saying? Maybe there should be some more boundaries to that access. You know what I mean?
Good luck.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. I'm just.
I 100%. The access to education is what separates us from a lot of other countries, a lot of other places in this world. But the way we're going about it is starting a slippery slope into creating a society of dependency.
Little monsters.
Dependency.
Relying too much on other people for things.
Well, they've been saying that the school system was that from the beginning. Like it was just there to make us good workers in factories.
Sure, I get that. I see that. A lot of our new models and stuff come from business. We want collaboration. We want to be able to, but at the same time, for me to do this, I have to work at it because I have to get better at it. I mean, I'm okay. Some people might like, oh, that's awesome. That's just because you haven't tried it and it's not as hard as it looks, but it may also not be your thing. My problem is the networking and the selling piece. I have to learn how to do that, but without, say, going through the process of school and being able to interact with people, I can't stand people. I really can't. I'd rather just, nope, you do your thing, leave me alone. I can do this because I've gone through that. So there's give and take all the time, though. But it for sure is towards business. It is absolutely, hey, get out in the workforce and handle business and do that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you can think back to your high school teachers, how many of them were like, hey, you need to get a job, you're going to have to do this, or you can go to college for this, this, and this. And now you're sitting here looking, there's podcasts. They have no clue what that was. Like, there's streaming. Like, there's so much more out there that was when we were in high school that.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to, I like to say that in my educational career as a student, I got the best and worst of all the worlds. First, the bubble world. All we did was bubble. It is this way because we said so. This is where the writing the steps down comes into play for you, Ash. It is this way because we said so. I'm like, okay, but why? Well, then we flipped that, went to critical thinking. Okay. Instead of doing this, why is it that way? I'm like, yes, this is what I want. So that's where writing down the steps for me is explaining why this works this way. So then I understand, oh, I can do it here and I know why now. I can explain where and all that by writing it down. 90%, I think it is 80 to 90% of your memory comes from writing. When you write something down, it's going to stick more.
Yeah, I'm a written. That's me. I have to write things down.
So, not everybody's like that, but it's gonna help, And then we're kind of back to the blend of critical thinking, but do it because I said to do it. It's kind of back into that, right now. It's just very weird.
Which is frustrating for a lot of people. I know it was for me. I'm not, I struggled a lot in I brought home my first B in pre-algebra. That was the first class I ever made a B in. And I came home and I cried. I was like so devastated about it. And it was the reason I struggled with it so much is because I remember my teacher actually telling me one day whenever I went up and asked them a question, and they were like, I wish more students thought more like you, because my question was always why? Like, why?
Right.
Nobody tells you why pi is 3.14. Nobody tells you why, and I know that's a very, there is an answer for it, and they could explain it. But
nobody really knows why pi does what it does.
But I mean, that's what I mean. Like, algebra didn't make sense to me in that way, because I was
It
like,
goes on forever.
Why?
Yeah, pi is a long number.
That made it so difficult.
They still
for
haven't
me.
found an end, and it doesn't repeat. So,
Well, and we talk about all this stuff like with these kids and defiance and all this stuff, but I mean, the core learning for a child comes from who? Their parents.
Or in most cases.
In most cases, yes. I mean,
well,
it should be.
It should be.
guardian.
Should.
Whoever's
Right.
home.
It should be.
I feel
whoever
like
has them outside.
Grandma, grandpa.
I feel like
outside 8 hours a day.
school's
that's
like
my
the
issue.
building block, man. What's that, IG? Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
Oh, you're good. It's just that's my issue anymore with anything when it comes to kids is the parents. The parents rely too much on the school. It's not the school's job to raise your fucking kid. It's yours. They go to school to learn and grow, but not be a person in general. That is your job to raise your kid and instill, general
Values.
Morals, values, and everything
Rights,
in your
wrongs.
child, not the teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say
Discipline.
that a minute ago, that this may be a polarizing opinion, but I feel like, and the reason why I brought up the question of maybe free access to education should have more boundaries, because I think for a lot of parents, maybe even not a lot, I'm not going to put a number on it, but for some,
A lot.
it is
A lot, yeah.
it is an outlet to be able to send their children away
Yes.
for the day, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah.
I feel like that happens way more often, and then they just expect you to do all of the work while they do. Maybe they're working, but maybe they're not. I don't know.
Well, in states
Fun
like
part.
Washington, truancy, like if you have a school age kid that is, say, not in homeschool and you're just not sending them to school, like they're registered, it's against the law.
Yeah, same here.
Well, it is here too,
Is it there in
but
California?
nothing
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Like they
have
send
meetings,
out,
all that, and nothing happens.
it's crazy.
In Texas, they used to be pretty serious about it. We knew kids that actually they took their parents to court over it.
Why is it against the law?
Whoever wrote the laws, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Money. It comes back to
It's
money.
It's probably money,
You're-
yeah.
Each kid's butt in the seat allocates a certain amount of money per day.
Yep.
Mhm. Tax money from that state.
It's Yep. And here's my thing. Pay me like a babysitter. My wife charged $25 a day per kid. $25 a day. Think about that. And that's just whatever your hours you agreed upon. $25 a day per kid. She had max that was like 6 or 7, I think she had. That's nothing
Yeah.
per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Pay me that, please. I'll take 20 cents.
I think
I'll take 20 cents to an hour.
You guys get paid
Thank you, baby
way too little for the job that y'all have to do.
1,000.
That's fine,
20
beautiful.
$25 a
Sorry.
day, and you have 34 students.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
$850 a day.
And that's cheap for daycare.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
well,
That's the low end.
nothing.
And she provided diapers.
And you're teaching them.
So, and I'm
Yeah.
teaching them. Yeah. But regardless, I mean, I get my salary is all on pay scale and it's all public because I'm a public worker. But I get paid decent out here. It's not bad for what I do and where we're at. But the problem with it is I have to parent all of these kids without, not all of them, I would say like 90% of them, to 100% on certain days where it's like, hey, they don't have a problem, they can't figure it out themselves, and I'm doing that. But most of the time it's about 90% anymore where it's just like, okay, look, get your shit together. But if I tell them that, I'm fired.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line to be able to. I have to parent. I'm me, but I can't be me like I am with my kids to these kids. I always say they're my kids. I tell them, I'm like, look, you guys are my kids. I'm going to treat you the same way I would treat my kids, except for like half of how I treat my kids because I'm going to parent. And on top of that, the problem is teachers can be held accountable by powers that be along the way, district, whatever, admin, district, all the way up. Parents can't be. So the blame, the fault, the push, all on us as teachers because they can't do anything to the parents. They can't. Hey, you need to take a parenting class. Period. They don't. They can't do that. There's no accountability that they could truly hold over the parents. Truancy, sure, but nothing really happens ever. It seems like so.
Yeah. That's nuts, man.
Parent stories. I had a parent email me before school started, like a week before school started, and was like, "Hi, you're my daughter's 4th grade teacher," and I'm like, "I am." They didn't even release the rosters yet. How do you know? Well, they did on the online portion because we have an online system where the grades go and all that. So there's a parent connect, so they have access to the connect or to the grades. And apparently, they set up the roster there, and she looked whatever. How long have you been teaching? I've never seen you before. How long have you been at this school? Because I've never seen your name before. I don't know who you are. And I'm like, well, this year's going to be fun. And I haven't even started yet. It was like that until about halfway through the year. Then she kind of backed off when she finally realized, I know what I'm doing. I got your daughter's interest. And it was during COVID, so that was fun too.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but... And then another thing I get is... because of this, we don't have, I mean, a very diverse school classroom. Let's say this last year I had about 3 kids were of the same as me. But when I get certain parents come in, it's automatically because I'm dead set against them. I'm like, why? I have nothing against you. This is where academically the numbers, the work turned in, the grades on these things, that's where it's at. And I've had parents, same situation, come in and just be like, "Hi, how are you doing? Let's go. What needs to be done?" And it's a culture thing. I mean, it's a difference in culture within the same, I guess, background. It's very tough. Like we're seen as it's my fault first before the kids. They take their students take students 100%. Hey, this is what happened at school today. Okay, but I turned it in. Okay, but did you put your name on it? Yeah, I did. Okay, where'd you put it? Well, I put it on your desk. Okay, is that where you turn stuff in? No. Then you didn't turn it in. I'm sorry. If it's on my desk, it's probably going to get lost because I put stuff on my desk that I'm working on now or not working on at all, and it's just going away. So we have a system, use it.
Yeah.
That goes back to the lack of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, it's never... I'm rarely approached first without a pre-accusation.
Wow.
Of anything.
So people just automatically come in with an assumption.
Well, and school in general. I had a kid instance this year where a bike was stolen during the middle of the day out of the bike rack, which is out front of the school. Should it have been locked? I mean, I guess, but we don't really, that just takes another man or whatever. It's been fine. But the student locked his bike up, locked it up. 100%. Social media was hit. Admin was called. Police were involved. Turns out, well, we have cameras around campus and stuff. Turns out, kid didn't even have the lock with him.
Yep.
Was never locked up. Should the other kid have come on campus and got the bike? No. But what would have prevented that? the initial step of, hey, did you lock your bike up? Parents' response, you ready? I didn't even think about that.
Oh my god.
Dude, we're fucking doomed. We're
We're so
doomed.
doomed.
I'm about to join the Space Force and get on a fucking rocket and
Oh my
never coming
God.
back. I'm gonna go find intelligent life somewhere else.
Oh no.
It's crazy.
That is just blows my mind.
I mean, I can tell you like so many of those just here's your sign stories.
Dude, that
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
You know, just being a cop, the stupidity that you see is comical.
Oh, I could imagine.
Comical. You know, I mean, we all see it every day, you know, because we deal with stupid freaking people every day. You know, but it's just criminals are stupid too, and that's what makes it even better.
Well, that's why they're criminals.
This is
Or,
true.
yeah. Or they're really smart.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is true too.
There's some extremely smart criminals. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're doing the high class crimes.
Facts.
Yeah.
Tuna's not dealing with those guys.
No.
No.
One day I'll tell you a story about my dad.
Yes. He's
You know what?
genius, by the way.
He's a genius.
He's
Hey,
very intelligent. Very, very intelligent.
Oh.
he's also a, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So
One day.
one day
Okay.
we'll spill the
All right.
beans on that one.
I'll tell you all about his schemes.
Yes.
Sweet. I love it. We'll do it one day.
That was one of those things where I was like, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that?
And then other people can decide, do you put that in the
Yeah.
very smart column or the very stupid column? Because it could go either way.
Yeah. Man.
See, I seen this guy. I can't remember what it was from, but he was doing this meat scam where he would take a piece of meat. I think it was HEB or some Kroger, Randall's, one of those chains. If you were not satisfied by the meat at all, or by any way, you can take it back. It could be just a bite left over. So he cut it in half and take it back to 2 different places and get the money back at 2 different places and just keep going and keep doing it.
That's some scandalous meat.
That meat was passed around.
Oh,
Had to.
That's like
Left that one
people.
open.
That's like people getting receipts out of the trash, going to the store, getting all the stuff off the
Yeah.
receipt, and then returning it.
Yeah.
But people do that shit, man.
okay.
To
I
get
no
$1.
longer need to tell a story about my dad.
People do that. I heard
That's
about a lot.
genius, though.
It is, but it's still stealing. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
1000%.
The era of security cameras.
Kind of
Yeah.
screwed that over.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was back in what, 04, 05, whenever I found out that he would do this. And I'm like,
Oh,
We can
before.
save it. We can save it.
yeah,
We can save
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's genius.
it.
But anyway, back to
Man.
Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
No.
Glad
not
you're
back to me.
here.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're our first
I'm
guest, man. I really am.
Glad you
I'm
guys have
truly an
invited
honor
me.
to have you.
I wish my camera would stop doing some weird lighting shit every time I
That's fine.
slightly move.
We can hear you. That's the important part.
You didn't miss my balls,
Yeah.
Merc. So there's that.
We haven't gotten
They're
there
coming
yet.
right now. Wait, what?
That's what she said.
shit, I'm out.
Hasn't come around yet. Sure it will. There's 2 hours to go.
Yeah.
Give it some time.
Scap's got a story that'll lead right into
one
Bumblebee's
is
balls.
Oh no.
I'm sure.
Do I?
Doctor
Well-
Doctor No Glove.
Oh my god.
Are we doing this now?
Glove.
Okay, I guess we're
I
doing
mean, we
this,
could
yeah.
change. We could change it up. We'll just for a second. I'll just we'll digress slightly. But so military doctors, they're sometimes military, they're sometimes civilian, right?
Yep.
Well, I'm qualified to paint aircraft, right? So I have to do respirator physical, so it requires a little more than just your traditional like annual physical that people do.
Yep.
So you have to You have to go get blood work, check breathing, like your breathing, do EKG, all that kind of stuff. And you also have to get like your hernia checks and stuff like that. So there used to be this doctor on the base here where I'm at. And one day I went in there and it was like, I don't know. He stood me up on the end of the medical bed, right? Pulled the little drawer out of the bottom so you could stand on it. So I stand there. He's like, okay, and go ahead and drop him down. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting my hernia check or whatever. So he's behind me, like washing his hands, you know. And next thing I know, I'm just, you know, I'm all right, check, you know, checking the hernia thing. But, you know, there's an elasticity check, apparently. There's elasticity check, you know, a little pull and then just let it go. And then also, you know, they got to check to make sure there's no lumps and all that kind of thing. And then also you get checked for your hernia, like the turn the head and cough thing. But the crazy part about the whole story is dude didn't have no gloves on. No gloves.
He just forgot the gloves?
Oh, no. I'll get to that point real quick. So
his hands raw, dog.
His hands were warm, thank God. It was a little weird, but
I don't know if that's better or
worse.
So,
was he just touching with no gloves?
So no gloves. Very odd. I went back to my shop at work. I'm like, hey man, you know, I work with a bunch of metalsmiths and hydraulics men and dudes that work on jet engines and shit. So we're all a bunch of fucking just knuckle dragging, fucking whatever you want to call us.
Grease monkeys.
Yeah. We're smart, but like we talk
They're
about dumb shit.
monkeys.
Yeah, we talk about dumb shit and dick jokes all the time, which is fine. But so I go back and I'm like, hey, I just went and saw the doc for my physical, and like he didn't have any gloves on. He's like, oh, one of the guys in the shop is like, oh, you met Dr. No Glove. I'm like, wait, y'all got a fucking name for this guy? Like, he has a name? Like, yeah, dude, this shit happens all the time. He doesn't use a glove for anybody, bro. I'm like, bro. So
second hand touched balls with somebody else.
Yeah, so I was probably sloppy seconds that day. I don't even know, man, but definitely weird. I came back, so I left the location I'm at now in Washington, and I went to California for 4 years. I came back, and dude doesn't work there anymore. Apparently, enough complaints went in that he no longer has a job there. But people that I've never met that have been in this area know who this dude is, based on that nickname, Dr. No Glove.
Oh my!
I guess too many people were. I guess too many wives were, you know, angry about going home and seeing a different colored pube on their husbands, and so they started complaining or something.
I'm emotionally torn with this, man.
You don't touch it like Dr. No Glove touches it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That okay.
That's yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I would have lost my shit.
Well,
That's
it was just
exactly what we
shocking,
saw
bro.
said yesterday.
I'm like standing there like shocked, you know, like what do I do?
I would have been like, dude, get some fucking gloves.
I probably would have fucked with the dude, but that's me.
Oh yeah, right
Like,
there.
Like DDR, like every time we go in for a drug test, like you've got to have somebody, you know, you got to have the pee-pee watchers. That's what we call it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Watchers.
I walk in or whatever, and I'm having a conversation with whoever's watching my pee-pee, right? And I've done it so many times. I've been a pee-pee watcher, so I know the rules, right?
Yeah.
And so I go in and I drop trout on my fucking ankles
I do the same
every
shit,
time.
bro.
And I grab my shit and I turn just enough on the urinal, and I'm like, "Can you see it good?" And then these guys just go,
Yeah.
and they just turn around, and I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "You got to see the head inside the bottle to make sure that it is legal."
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Bro,
You gotta watch the
like,
urine
really?
leave the body.
yeah." And they're just like, they're in so much shock. And then I come out, and the ladies, it's been the same ladies for years, and I've been doing this for years. And I just had one not too long ago. I did the same shit. And the lady come up, she goes, "You got him, didn't she?" I was like, "Oh yeah." because I do it every time. I don't give a shit.
Wait, do you guys use the same so like if you have a male, right, doing a urine sample, is it always a male that has to witness the urine leave the body?
Yes.
Unless it's the doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with us too.
Yeah.
I would tell him, hey, yeah, I can only urinate with my pants around my ankles and my booty cheeks spread. It's the only way I can urinate.
Yeah.
Don't shame me for my quirks.
I will tell you, in my 25 years, Merc, there's been a lot of people that have seen me Kobo, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Cock out, balls out.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I do not walk around butt naked anytime, anywhere. He has
A lot
zero
of
shame.
people.
We talked about it last episode. You know,
Yeah.
you're not my friend until you've seen my ass. So
We're not friends.
I just
yet.
can't legally. Not yet. I think
Don't
if you
say
were
that.
able to
Skip.
get out.
Picture incoming.
No.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
too many pictures of balls. Okay.
But yeah, we had a mass urinalysis that we had to do, so unit wide.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to be in this one dude, and he goes, "Oh, bro, I got a fucking turtle popping," and he goes flying into the fucking stall or whatever, and he just hands his fucking piss bottle to the guy watching.
Oh yeah,
and
when
you
you
just
got
hear this
shit,
dude taking
yeah.
a fat dump.
Mhm. They have to watch you
Fucking
shit.
Yep.
Yep, have to watch you. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! I am so happy. In my 18 years, I have not had anybody do that
I never
I have
had
not.
to me.
do it.
One day, some guy looked at me, and goes, "I got a shit," and I was like, "We're going out first. Fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, either shit yourself or pinch it off. Oh, we talked about my balls again.
Just for a minute.
So what's the elasticity rating on those?
It's like an E3.
It
Do they,
depends on
like,
if they're
give you a
swollen or
rating?
not.
I don't have elasticity in mine.
Yeah. It depends on how swollen they are. I think I will.
After a hernia, they just I look like Chuck Nuts.
This is more like filling or no filling.
Yeah, facts.
Can you feel this?
We were in the truck the other night because we went out to eat with my dad, and we played that segment of last podcast. I don't think I've ever heard my dad cry laughing before.
Merc, I think balls are just funnier to talk about than boobs. I don't know why. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Okay,
Well, but
so
I mean-
I was gonna say earlier though. So going back, so talking about the no glove thing, and I don't know if it's just maybe it's totally different because, well, I don't know. It's still a private part of a person. But anyway, I saw a doctor for like thyroid type issues whenever I was really young. I was like under 10. And I remember I had to have like breast exams at a much younger age than like, you know, now you get them for like mammograms and at that, you know, gynecologist or whatever, they check for lumps and whatnot. But I remember that my doctor, anytime he was doing that, I don't remember him ever having gloves on for that.
That's just
either.
weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it was weird in general because I was like 10 years old and I had
it's
a
even
doctor
weirder
squeezing
that
my
you are
boobs,
10.
but you know.
With no gloves.
But I just don't remember it being a glove thing. Like, is
I'm
that like
gonna-
the same thing?
I
Is that
gotta
like the
say,
same?
I don't, yeah, I honestly
It might
do.
be
I
worse,
mean,
honestly.
I'd vote
It's-
worse.
I would. You're a kid, you know? At least I'm an adult at that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could
We
have fucking
investigate
turned
people for
around and
that.
punched the dude in the face, but I didn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, and I don't think my gynecologist now, even if I go in, I don't think
Wait, he was behind you with no gloves too?
me.
No, Skip.
Skip. Oh,
Oh.
no.
He said he was going to turn
on
around
the
and punch him.
side. Yeah, he was
Oh,
like on the side
okay,
of
sorry.
me. Like
Side
not
note, sorry.
directly in front of me, but inside.
I was like, you let him give you a reach around and had no gloves on? Hope. I don't know what kind of exam you thought that was.
It's the same thing for me, Merc. Only my gynecologist is a guy. But yeah, it's the same. We kind of like just have conversation, and I've never really thought anything of it. And he just reaches up there and does his little thing, and
I feel like they make conversation just to keep the awkwardness down.
That's true.
But honestly, like, what is it? A nitrile glove, a latex glove? Sometimes, like, what is
Yeah.
that? I mean,
Yeah.
what's the difference really, aside from
Yeah.
just what's the word I'm looking for?
Skin to skin
Just
contact.
cleanliness. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
guess that could be
Yeah.
the only word I could think of.
Sterile.
It would
Yeah.
be the fact that hand wasn't holding somebody else's balls and then touching yours.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
he
now
did
anything
wash
below
his
the
hands,
waist,
so
anything below the waist for me was always gloved. So I never had that,
Yeah.
but I know we have an additional, section up here that's
Yeah.
a little bit different. So I was like, I don't know, now that you say that, I don't remember gloves above the waist really being a thing. It was really just below the waist.
see, that's weird to me, even though it's just
nope.
it's micro thin piece of material. Like, it's still weird to me. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Well,
you know what? I get that, Merc. What Merc said, she goes, maybe it's easier to feel for lumps and stuff without gloves. I mean,
Maybe.
there is, that sense of touch, like, because when there is that elasticity or whatever. Now, I'm not a fucking doctor, but I know that, when we're dealing with scenes and all that stuff, it is somewhat more difficult to tell what something is.
We should know. We wear latex and complain about it not feeling as good without the latex.
That's true.
There's that.
I don't know if that's the same.
It's too
application,
dangerous
though.
for me to wear gloves when I play with my wood.
Right?
I mean, it is.
I wouldn't suggest doing that.
I can
with
get
gloves
pulled in.
on. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm playing with, hardwood out there today.
I think
doing
it's
some real dangerous shit.
I think it's a
Just a
sanitary
sanitary.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also
It
think
could be a
if you,
comfort level too, though.
I also think that maybe there's some doctors that out there that are just fucking weird. I mean,
Yo,
Yeah.
her doc is cool as fuck. We played Call of Duty together. We were literally playing.
Go ahead.
What's up?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we were fucking playing TDM one day. What was it? Modern Warfare 2, I think is what it was. I forget which one it was.
Is that
But
weird
no,
for you,
we-
Ash?
We're literally.
No.
The man has seen
She-
the inside of my uterus. I mean, you can't get any more
Well, so
Yeah.
is tuna. So
right. So that's what I
Yeah,
mean. Like,
they-
it's not
they have that.
We have a special bond.
camaraderie.
Different
Yeah.
type of war stories.
right. Right.
What?
Like,
But yeah,
you're in a very specialized club together.
Oh man.
and then he pops up and he goes, "Damn it, I'm on a PR game. I gotta go." And I'm like, "What's going on?" He goes, "This baby's coming too early and messing up my game." And then he just disappears. It's like, bro,
Damn.
I love this guy.
Yeah. This man delivered both of my kids. He did my hysterectomy. Like, he's like my doctor. Like,
Oh, we get to go see him tomorrow.
I wish I could go see him. No, Tuesday. I wish I could go
Tuesday.
see him for everything. Like, can you just be my everything doctor? Because
Mm.
I love him so much.
I think it's good to have a level of trust like that with somebody that cares for your, your physical being.
He's the only one I have that with. And it sucks that he's just an OBGYN because, I can't go to him for everything, unfortunately.
Damn.
Is it just me or like guys wanting to become OBGYNs is kind of weird to me? Like
Maybe they just care about women's health, man. I don't
feminists,
know.
yeah.
I'm kind of an optimist on things, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm, who's going to go to school for 10 years to be a weirdo? I don't know.
I mean,
really, really
There
weird.
might be
really
that's
big
your
weirdos.
extreme weirdos, I don't know.
Dedicated weirdos.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty dedicated. That's a lot to go through. Fucking.
The reward is worth
I'm
it.
so weird that I'll
Oh,
spend
no.
thousands of dollars in debt to be weirdo.
Yeah, but
This is coming from Skep, who had Dr. No Gloves.
Yes, I did have. Who no longer has a job.
he retired.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he did.
Bev, you see what,
Forcefully retired.
yeah, you see what Merc said?
People imagine when I have a baby wouldn't matter when it's no. You kind of just, and I'm a very, very modest person, so gynecology was always a struggle for me. And it still would be if it wasn't for the doctors that I have now. But yeah, it kind of becomes less of an issue. Granted, I never pushed a baby out. I had 2 C-sections, so I feel like that's even more personal because he's literally inside of everything.
Yeah.
And then he took it out years later.
Just coming from my experience, when you're in that much pain, you don't give a fuck who's looking or
just fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, Ashley wasn't in that much pain.
No,
She had a
because I never
spinal
went into
block,
labor. But yeah, but I knew him, and so
they gave my wife for my daughter. They gave my wife so many epidurals that they almost killed her because she was so numb she couldn't even feel to breathe.
Oh my god!
So they had to put her on her ventilator and everything.
Holy shit! Yeah, I would say that epidural.
She was in labor for 48 hours and induced labor for 24.
Ugh. Yeah, I never experienced labor.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people understand like how long 24 hours can be when you're in fucking pain.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
I couldn't, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, that's when. At what point do you call it and say do a C-section? You know?
Yeah. After the 24-hour mark of being in induced labor, they were like, "We're just gonna cut this baby out." Like,
Pitocin is shit.
Yes.
That stuff sucks. My wife had with the oldest, she went into labor, then she wasn't progressing fast enough, so they started pumping her full of Pitocin and just instant, like, the contractions and stuff, and then her body was like, fuck you, I'm going the other way, and like, that's not supposed to happen. So she ended up having a C-section, but she actually got to the point of pushing, and then literally just started backtracking, started getting smaller instead of bigger with the Pitocin. It was weird.
They had my mom push so hard with me that I came out with a cone head, and then they had to C-section me out as well. But I had a cone head because I was being forced into a tight hole.
Yeah, the oldest actually was stuck when they went into C-section. They had to like get her back out of the canal.
Wow.
Because she started pushing and progressing and stuff, but it was weird. Tell you what though, you find a different animal during that time, and my wife has these. She gets anxiety attacks, and they're like honestly full body seizures, but she's still aware and coherent. She'll lock up. Everything cramps up. You can't move her arms. You can't open her hands. It's full body cramps, and I can tell since I've seen it for so long that when they're coming on, for all 3 girls with nervousness, actually I don't know about the last one because I think she was ready for the last one kind of there, but just the nervousness of the C-section and the whole process, she fought that shit off. I've never seen her do it at any other time, but she literally, I could see it, and she goes, "No, it's fine. I got it." And I was like, "What? What do you mean you've got it?" It literally takes up. She did the whole time. Just C-section, both C-sections, the first 2, just completely push that shit off, and I'm like, okay, don't ever let me get you to that level because I'm dead, and everybody else around us is dead. Because
she went
that's a
fucking
whole
Super
new beast.
Saiyan, bro.
Yeah,
I
whole new beast.
Just did that the other day, actually, the day that I went down for my back, because I've had that same issue happen to me, and it's weird because the first time it ever happened to me, the locking up and everything, it's funny that your hands do this motion right here because that's exactly
crabs.
That's what mine do.
Just completely.
They do this. They just
her toes will start going and everything.
Yeah, and it's weird because sometimes I won't even be in a stressed state, and
you don't know it.
I could be perfectly normal. Like I was in a meeting at work the first time it happened to me, and I was feeling a little bit like my heart was beating a little bit too fast. But aside from that, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't worried. No one had pissed me off. I was perfectly fine and went back to my desk and checked my heart rate. And then all of a sudden I started feeling my body go numb. And that's what it felt like. It started in like I don't know if you've ever had like your blood pressure drop, but my lips kind of started to tingle a little bit, and then it started to spread through my arms and everything. And my boss came up to me and he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I don't think I'm okay." And then I started to feel my whole body go. I couldn't move anything. My lips were like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't do, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They took me to the hospital, did all kinds of tests and everything, and they kept telling me I was having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. I'm like, but about what? I wasn't panicking about anything.
That's what she just says every time.
It was so scary because I didn't feel like what did I have to be panicked about? And all of a sudden my body just turned against me. And then that's the only one time that's ever happened to me until on Friday when I went down for my back, and my neighbor, I was on the floor in the bathroom and my neighbor was here, and Tuna had just gotten back from speeding home from work, and they were trying to get me in a more comfortable position, and they went to try to lay me down, and the pain was so bad that I was screaming, and I think because I was screaming and I was out of breath, I started to feel that feeling again. And that's the most terrifying feeling in the world, especially like when your midsection right here, like when your rib cage, when you can't feel it anymore, you can't even tell if you're going to breathe or not. And I just remember looking at him and I was like, please don't let this happen to me again. Please don't let that. That was the scariest thing ever. So I was just like, I looked at him with my hands like this and my lips were all up. I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to breathe. And it was just like, it was so scary. But I that one, it only got down to like, it got through my arms and from my knees down to my feet. And I was able to kind of pull it back somehow. And once the paramedics and everybody got there, and I was able to kind of pull, but those are hard. That's hard to pull back from. Yes. Because you get more and more scared as it's happening.
Right.
Snowballs.
Yeah. Because then you're like, oh shit, am I going to die? Like literally, that was the feelings I was going through. Like, please don't let me die because I don't even know if I'm breathing right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there is a stronger power on earth than what a mother will do for their child.
Yeah.
Like I have seen mothers hulk out over children, their own children.
We talked about that in a previous podcast.
Yeah.
Lifting cars off.
Yeah,
Kids.
So like her being able to fight something off like that or whatever, like that, you know, when it comes to that motherly instinct, it's, you know, that's a strong fucking power.
Mm-hmm.
I think people,
But yeah,
I think people in general like have that, sometimes can have that adrenaline rush, depending on the situation, you know. But I would agree with you. Adrenaline. Yeah, definitely. Like perhaps a mother and their children's like that adrenaline rush can activate so quickly, you know. Whereas a lot of because I want to say, and I don't want to say it's irrational, but it's just automatic, you know. Like there's no thinking about anything else going on in the world right now. None of that shit exists. This is my child, and like boom, I'm just fucking, I'm there. I'm ready to go. Adrenaline, 100%. Yeah, tunnel vision. Nothing else exists. Like yeah, that's crazy, man. Like I agree with you too, for sure.
When I got shot, my mom said like her adrenaline started going, and she was up at the hospital, and it wasn't like, she did not react like you think a female would react, you know, getting sad and crying and stuff, until she knew everything was okay. You know what I mean? And then she was like, okay, now I can have my emotions.
My sister-in-law went through the same thing with her son. So my nephew, so we were living in Japan. So I think it was probably like around 2020 or so. And we found out that my nephew had tried to commit suicide, and he was in the front yard. He had shot himself in the head in their front yard. And my sister-in-law came home and found him. And I'm like, and as they're telling me the story, I'm like, the fact that she got on the phone and got an ambulance and did all these things, I'm like, I can't even imagine what I would have done. Like to walk up to that situation, I'd like to think I would have reacted, you know, as he's alive and well and you know, thriving now, thank goodness. But gosh, to react that way after seeing, you know, your kid in such a state like that, but I guess that's that trigger that you're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if a lot of people really know how they would react when like push comes to shove like that. You know what I mean? When you're faced with that situation, you could say you're going to react a certain way all day long, but then when it actually happens, you may not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of people can say and talk a bunch of things, but AG, his background or whatever, I'll bet you shit that he's been through. When he says, "Hey, this is what I do," I'd probably believe him.
Yeah.
You know, and how he would react to something just because of what he's done in the army. You know, and all that stuff.
I would say AG too. Like you guys train to that, right?
Yeah.
So you have it like ingrained in you because of training. So you know how you're going to react in a specific way because you rely on that, you know.
They call it muscle memory because that muscle memory is what's going to be a difference between you coming home or being in a body bag.
Big facts.
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
take that split second decision making in your head. You're already reacting. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I can say I know how Tuna would react too, just because he does the same thing with me whenever stuff like that happens. Like in all these instances that happens with me, he doesn't react the way you would expect, or I would think you would expect
You would hope I would expect.
No, a scared like a scared spouse to react, right? He's just very steady. He's very, you know, but that he does that kind of stuff, and even though it's me, it doesn't do any good to freak out because he can't be his best self. He can't serve me in the best way in that moment if he changes how he responds. So, you know, it's like that's whenever I was looking at him, and I'm looking at him and I'm all frozen, and he's just like, "Yep, just breathe."
Well, being a first responder in any way, you're gonna. He's trained in it basically already. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on about the shit that I have seen or whatever, and you know, it's one of those things. Like I look at when there is an emergency going on, I look at it in the same way I do it, no matter who it is. You know, like with her, you know, every time something happens to her, it's not all that often. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but like stuff does happen
lately.
Yeah, lately. But like, you know, I treat it as I'm on scene with somebody else. You know, if I'm freaking out, what's that going to do for the other person? It's going to freak them out. You know, when my daughter called, you know, Christmas Day, freaking out that they got in a wreck, her and my dad or whatever, I went straight to cop mode. And Ashley's over here. She's like, you were in the bathroom or something, I think, and taking a shower or something. She wasn't there at the very second. And I was like, okay, do this, and this. And Ashley's like, what happened? And I'm like, they got in a wreck. She's like, is Piper okay? I looked straight at her. I said, she's breathing. She's fine. And then I'd come right back onto the phone. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at it, I'm like, she's talking, she's breathing. I don't even have to ask if she's okay.
I'm like, I need more information. And he's like, she's talking to me. She's fine.
Yeah.
I think it also helps to just because I'm similar. I don't know if it's because of different types of training, or I've just kind of been most of this way my whole life is just cool, calm, and collected all the time, no matter what's going on. Because I've learned, like, you can't think clearly if you let your emotions get in the way of it too much. And maybe it's part of it's from training, part of it's just from being just kind of a calm person, you know? And I think that helps as well.
Yeah. Hey, can we put a pause in here for a second? Hey, Mercedes.
Shut up, bitch!
Sorry, had to.
Damn.
God.
It's an inside joke, guys.
Not even a clean dick? Damn.
But back to that, right? Like, but that's the thing. Like, I am not 100% of the time calm, cool, and collective.
Yeah.
You know, Ashley can attest to that too. You know, but when I'm in my mode or whatever, that's where I get that calm, cool, and collectiveness.
I've gamed
You
with
know-
you. I know you're not always calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah.
Everyone here,
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
I think with games
still love
it's
you,
different
Mercedes.
though, you know.
Gaming is
It's
different.
different.
Well, but like even with my kids though, sometimes
This is
like cause sometimes like Piper, you know, it'll just be something stupid, and I just can't handle the stupidity, and I can't.
It's
You know.
female teenager emotional logic. That's what it is.
Not logic at all.
That's why I prefaced it with female teenager.
It's
logic.
feeling. It's not. Yeah.
Yes.
Female teenagers. It's feeling and not logic.
And whatever's screaming inside their body.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. My daughter's like me in a way. With just she's always just calm. It's so weird, man. I don't know why.
Piper is like this.
Always.
She is like this. It's like the hybrid of the height of both of ours, of both of us. So like she's like Tuna in that she's like her own person, and she's kind of just, you know, she keeps her. Well, I guess that's more like me. I'm like, I keep my circle close, and I'm not super social, and I kind of just, you know, keep to myself, and I have my little group of friends or whatever.
She's outgoing yet narcissistic.
No, she's not. She's not narcissistic. She's outgoing to an extent, but she's like me. I'm introverted. Being outgoing, I'm capable, but it takes a lot out of me,
It's
right?
hard,
And
yeah.
she's the same way. Yeah, it's very difficult. But no, like she got a lot of Tuna's like kind of chill, level-headedness, but she got all of my emotional like triggers. So like she's perfectly fine up until something that she can't regulate, and then it's like a switch goes off, and all of a sudden she's crying. And Tuna's
That's
like,
how I am.
I don't understand. How did we go from like you being the boy I never had to all of a sudden you have feelings?
So she goes from 0 to 100 and back to 0 probably quickly.
Yes.
Like
That's
it's a quick
exactly
like,
how I am.
oh my god, and then back to fucking calm.
He rebounds very fast, like he does. I'm the opposite. It can take me a day to come back from something, depending on how bad it was. And then they're just like, give them some time to cool off, and they're fine. So she's like,
I feel like
weird
that's an ADHD brain when you don't focus on the negative that's causing your emotions. You're automatically switch to something else. I'm that same way. Whereas I can be ready to fight somebody, and then they might tell a joke, and I laugh, and then we're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she I don't know. It's a struggle. Sometimes
I'd
I'd like to
he
say
just
I'm
doesn't know how to handle
pretty
that.
chill.
You seem pretty chill, Jay, for sure.
For the most part. I don't get pissed off often, but when I do, it's because I've been pushed so far over the edge. Or just pushed into that mode. There's very little in this world that pisses me off. Besides, the obvious shit. But for the most part, I'm just kind of like, I don't like conflict, and people are like, you need to speak up for yourself. I'm like, why? I'll do it. Boils over. Everybody's done. I deal with the shit internally. I'm fine. We move on. I'm okay with it. I can handle it. But sometimes it's just like, fuck.
It's rational.
Too much.
It's rational thinking is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to say I'm good situationally. I've been in different situations, and sometimes it's theirs, sometimes it's not, because I don't know what it is. There's different situations that, for instance, we have a field day, and ag day. So we have animals and stuff come on campus or whatever, and we had the heifer got out, not the bull, no horns. Heifer got out, and they're all chasing it first thing in the morning, and I'm like, me being me, I'm like, oh shit, I better go over and try to figure it out. So I'm standing there, and they're just trying to corral it so one of the handlers can grab the rope. Everything's fine as soon as that rope is touched. My first instinct was, I'm just gonna go grab the fucking rope. I don't know this cow. I'm gonna go grab this rope. Took 2 steps towards the cow. She put her head down, snorted, and pawed the ground. Nope. Peace. Bye, guys. Like, I'm not touching that thing. Like, that thing is gonna run me the hell over, and I don't feel like it today.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah,
No, see, I'm the opposite. I like my thing is like that. There's a fine line between dangerous and fun, and I will walk that line until I fall over into the dangerous and hurt myself, and then I know where that line is.
That's
Mm.
So,
yeah. I still had to teach that day, so I was like, not getting run over for these kids.
Substitutes are a thing. I legitimately got hurt. Send me home.
I'm gonna go grab a refill really
I would
quick.
still have to. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, man! I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just gonna go grab a refill
You're
real
good, you're
quick,
good.
and then I'll be right back. And then we'll talk
we normally
about some
take a
hard
break.
stuff.
Yeah, do a
Substitutes
little
are a
break
thing.
and then questions. The hard ones are coming now.
Let's go.
It's for
I'd
everybody.
have to tell the substitute and still write the lesson plans for the sub. So